All right, it's ready whenever you want to start it up.
Uh, Welcome back to the First the Worst podcast. I'm Brendan Murphy.
And I'm Steve Arendis.
What is this our 10th episode?
I think we're like
started
12.
the first week of February, and then we had a special.
I think it's like 12.
Okay, so the 12th episode, season 1, episode 12.
Yeah, we'll get an official count to keep that going.
If there was only a way to keep track of such things. Interesting weekend for me. I went to my first baby shower, and Steve was celebrated for the first time at a baby shower. Actually, maybe not.
What? As far as I know, it's the first time I've had a baby shower.
Well, I didn't know if you had one in like Madison last weekend. I know you have several upcoming.
No,
it's hard to keep track of all of your showers and such.
No, there's one next weekend in Madison.
And I guess you were celebrating a baby shower probably when your mom was pregnant 30-something years ago. So, I mean, maybe there's that. I don't know if the shower game was as big then as it is now.
I assume and no dudes were there.
No, there were a lot of dudes there. Possibly more dudes than women.
Yeah, everybody was just kind of drinking and hanging out.
It was just a bar party, and a good excuse to day drink.
Yeah.
Which then turned into a good excuse to night drink. Watch some Sabado Gigante.
And watch some kids play basketball in the alley, which is happening right now if you hear basketball sounds behind
Big Shot Bob, as we like to call him, is back there.
Yeah, I don't think he's playing one-on-one today, though. I think he's just kind of working on his game.
So the setup is that Steve's balcony is about 30 feet from the hoop, but it's elevated as well.
Yeah.
So a friend of ours kept. This is just gonna be all inside jokes and inside stories the entire time anyway. This entire podcast. So I'll just keep telling the story that no one gives a shit about. A friend of ours took several shots at the basket from 30 feet away and 20 feet elevated.
Yeah, it was a pretty interesting shot. He didn't come close to making it.
He has in the past come close to making it though.
Yeah. And
I would say it's
somehow it turned into us
half court shot. It was harder than a half court
for sure. Somehow this turned into him and you kind of just announcing this one-on-one basketball game between two high school kids.
We think they're high school kids. They're high school kids.
They're high school kids. Those are high school kids. Rob and Finn. I really think
Finn was tougher than his name.
Yeah, he got substantially better at basketball from the coaching that you guys gave him.
Yeah, I mean, you're welcome, Finn. Finn, last name unknown.
Yeah, he's got post moves now that he didn't even know he had.
He's got some Hakeem drop step type stuff going on. And as I bought your as I bought your baby gift today, two things I have no idea what the hell they are. Okay. 77 days out, according to the website.
77? I think it's going to be less than that.
Probably less, but that is just his due date, correct?
Yeah, I got the under.
We need to get some sort of gambling going with this.
Yeah. For sure.
Well, if you had to pick a date, just speculating what date the baby would come, what would you guess?
I think they will come.
Her due date is late June. Right? What is it?
Yeah, I think they're going to come early June.
Okay.
My guess is I'm going to say June 5th.
I was almost going to say June 5th.
I don't know why. I think it's going to be June
I think that's
5th.
the day the NBA Finals starts too. So that could be a good thing because you're not going to sleep anyway.
So the late West Coast games.
Yeah, those Warriors games are going to be rough anyway on everyone.
Yeah.
So apropos of nothing, as was that entire conversation, we'll go into the podcast this week, and I want to explain it by saying that, there's actors that do movies for the box office to pay for their careers and satisfy their fans, and there's the times where they just do the movies they want to do. I would say Ryan Gosling, friend of the show, favorite of the show, is it would fall under that category of a guy who will do the box office hit, a couple of those in a row, and then do a script he likes.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, if we were talking about things that we're doing for us rather than our fans, I think that this podcast of all for us.
Mostly. I mean, there's probably some people who will be interested.
I think it's relatable, the same way that a band goes up and plays their all their new stuff because they really enjoy playing it. Doesn't mean the new stuff is bad. This could be a great podcast, but we're not. Mass appeal is not our concern today.
No, not at all.
And I had like several people ask me about what this week's podcast was going to be more than usual. And every time I told it to someone, they kind of made like a blankish face.
Yeah, it's gonna. So everybody's really excited about it.
So not saying that they're not into it, they're just not sure if they're into it. It's like when women date me. They're like, well, he's kind of fat, but kind of funny. If he's more funny than fat, then maybe I could be into it.
Either way, I think this is going to be a good one, whether people are ready for it or not.
Whether people are ready for it or not. And this was one that we had talked about doing because, and we'll reveal it. The topic is, and I'll try to explain this in the easiest possible way. It maybe is pretty self-explanatory. Potential spin-offs of Game of Thrones and Mad Men.
Yep. And it works because, well, spin-offs are generally terrible TV show ideas to spin your show off into another show.
The best
no matter how
spin-off
good your
ever
original show is
Frasier, and I don't even like that show.
That's got to be the best one ever, right? Unless we're missing something. It's possible we're missing something, but I think it's generally.
They tried to do a Dwight spin-off of The Office.
It didn't even get to a show.
I don't think the pilot.
They didn't even get a pilot.
Yeah.
No. Yeah.
But so these are obviously fictitious, and some will be prequels, and some will be like. For me, there's at least one reality show on there
for sure.
So there's some creative license taken on this, and this is the first time that it's almost guaranteed that we will not have the same any overlap on our list.
Yeah, there might be like one random one or something like general.
There might be like a concept we overlap on, but the name of the show is the same.
For sure.
That's crazy.
Also, we won't. So these are like our two favorite shows. Basically, this is why we're talking about them now because Mad Men just started last week. Game of Thrones is starting tonight when we're recording on Sunday. And we have both read the Game of Thrones book, and I promise we will not spoil anything for the TV watchers who've not read the books.
I might ask you questions because you're better at delineating what's in the book and in the shows. So I might
bleep it or cut it if you.
Okay, I'll just be like, can we go into this? And then you can just shut me down if not. But anything that's been on any episode of either of these shows is fair game.
Yes, for sure.
So if you're just like starting to watch Game of Thrones right now,
just
starting to watch Mad Men right now, first of all, you have a lot of work to do to catch up. But this is probably not for you.
Stop the podcast, save it for later.
Yes. Next year when you finish.
Yeah. I have a friend who just watched all of Game of Thrones in like 2.5 weeks. It's pretty intense.
I think it's doable.
I think it is too.
If you watch nothing else.
Yeah. And you're gonna keep want to watch, like once you know you have another one there, you're just gonna want to watch it.
That's because it's amazing. It's the 5th greatest show in television history, I believe.
I don't have my official rankings written down anywhere.
Well, I rank everything. I rank my friends. You're a top 10er, Steve. Congratulations. Took a while. It took a while to crack the top 10.
I bet Game of Thrones is maybe in my top 3 shows ever, or it's at least top 5. I don't have it ranked, but.
I don't. I mean, where did you end up coming down on The Sopranos? Like,
didn't really like it. I mean, top really 10, not top 5. Here's the thing. I think it would have been awesome had I watched it when it was new, but like it was just so slow sometimes.
And I think that it's like 10 years old almost.
It's a little dated, but like there's obviously great episodes and great parts of that show. But it was like the first of like the awesome shows kind of that came out.
It is the Beatles of what the Beatles are to rock and roll. The Sopranos is to highbrow television.
I think if I was to write down ranked like favorite shows, it would probably be around like 7,
which is very good.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. Like it's a really good show, but like people say it's like their favorite show ever, and it's just like that's not there for me.
It was my favorite show ever, but I think that Mad Men is actually my favorite show ever.
I
know that sounds like some prisoner of the moment logic.
Might be. But it's a really good show.
So with these two shows premiering tonight, and I mean, we only have a handful of Mad Men episodes left. I thought this was the final 6 or 7 episodes that they're airing. Mm-hmm.
That's for sure.
The Mad Men spinoff will need to be coming soon. Like they should be in production. Oh, and also we should say that part of the way that this concept was created, I think, was we were talking about Better Call Saul,
which is a spin-off of Breaking Bad.
Breaking Bad.
And Walking Dead's getting a spin-off. So like AMC is not afraid to spin off their best shows. They're not afraid to do it.
Yeah, I mean, and then we wanted to do something about these shows.
Yeah.
So this is a creative way for us to get into that. And we're also probably just going to talk about plot points and things like that.
Yeah. All right. Let's just start it up.
So I've never done so many preambles before our list.
Start it up. What's your number 10 show that you made up?
My number 10, and I honestly ranked this lower because we did kind of discuss this yesterday when we were just trying to get a feel for it. We try not to discuss what's going to be on our list. I'm calling it Sterling's Golden Years. It's watching Roger Sterling as he ages gracefully into a life of wealth and women,
and
which
LSD.
Is pretty much what it's been. And LSD and great facial hair, and Roger Sterling is my favorite character. One of my 5 or 6 favorite characters in television history.
He's fantastic.
I loved the episode. I love watching him fire people, which he did last week. There's a scene where he fires a guy for the second time. Forget the character's name, but it is a great scene.
It really is. Here's the thing. I love Roger Sterling, the character, but like I've come to realize like I would hate Roger Sterling in real life.
Oh, well, yeah, unless you were like Don Draper and were also at the top of the pyramid. He clearly gives nothing about anyone besides himself.
Yeah, for sure.
So, yes, even like the Pete Campbells, he shits on.
That said, I'd watch a Roger Sterling spinoff. I'd at least turn it on and watch the first couple episodes.
And in truth, that's of the things that I kind of made spinoffs. Everything else is kind of a joke. This one would really be a spinoff.
I have like 3 shows that I like really want to have made on my list. 3, I think. Those are my top 3. I think I really want to be real TV shows. But the other ones are kind of jokes or not good ideas. So let's get to these not good ideas and jokes. My number 10 is Zoo Bizoo Bizoo.
Oh, I like that idea already.
It is a children's show on PBS where Megan Draper sings songs that don't make any sense, but it's like a little too sexualized, so dads like to sit there and watch it with their kids.
I think it's a great idea. But I thought Zooby Zooby Zoo was French.
Yeah, but like, nobody knows. You know how kids shows are all just like gibberish and stuff? It's all the same.
Yo Gabba Gabba.
Yeah, exactly. Like,
okay, yeah, I mean,
kids don't even understand what's happening. And then so then my number 9 show after that, it's a show that I kind of also put what network I thought the show would be on. This show I think would be on ABC, and I call it the Iron Bank Shark Tank. And it's just like people so this is a Game of Thrones spinoff, and it's people going to the Iron Bank in Bravos and pitching to them why they should fund their wars or whatever and loan them money. And the best part about this show is not only like so you get to see the Iron Bank making the decision on whether they should fund these people, but if you recall, if you ever watch Shark Tank, they have like they'll have like what happened to this person, and they'll like see how their business is doing.
We all are very excited to see what happened to Stannis Baratheon.
Yes. Well, the best will be when they come back and like, but on the Iron Bank Shark Tank, if you haven't done what you said you're going to do and paid them back, they're just going to go kill you. So that's a great show, I think.
That was one of the things I don't entirely understand about the whole Iron Bank Bravosi situation. Do they have like a really huge army?
I just think they have so much money and they just hire like
your head. Okay.
They hire like sellswords and such.
One detail from last year's Game of Thrones that I don't even know if this was revealed in the book. It wasn't really pronounced, but sometimes in the book with points like this, they go out of their way to make things unclear.
Yes.
Tywin Lannister point blank says that there's no more diamond mining at Casterly Rock. They've mined all the diamonds, which was like actually a pretty important plot point.
Yeah, it's not really in the books. It's kind of just like alluded to that maybe they don't have any money.
Yeah, I mean that means that the Lannisters are no longer rich.
Yeah, they're just all
which is like kind of what their thing is.
Yeah, they pay all their debts.
Yeah, well I don't know how they're going to do that now.
Yeah, that's a problem going forward. That's a problem. All right. So what's your number 9 show?
My number 9 is called Wed in Westeros. And it would be
Okay.
on a wedding channel, and it's hosted by Lord Walder Frey, talking about the finer points of getting married in Westeros. It would be on like WE or like O Network, maybe.
Walter Frazier host. Love it.
Walder Frey is the host.
He's had a lot of weddings himself too.
He's had a lot of weddings. He authored the most famous wedding in Westeros history.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. What's more famous, the Red Wedding or the wedding where Joffrey dies? Got to be the Joffrey wedding.
Yeah, I mean, more
Joffrey.
big people were at that. Yeah.
And he's the king.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
Bigger.
just getting married around there is tough.
It's not a good call. Just stay single in Westeros, guys. Or at least just do a little civil ceremony somewhere.
Yeah, I mean, the more pomp and circumstance, clearly the worse. Have Marjorie and Tommen gotten married on the show?
I don't know.
That's not a spoiler. I mean, that clearly is happening.
I don't know. Yeah.
Okay.
So what is your number 8?
This is actually it's not a character that's compelling enough, but this could be a real spell. This could be a real spinoff. I just like it because I get to make a joke about how it could be also be a Richard Linklater film.
Okay, let's hear it.
It's called After Dawn, the Chronicles of Don Draper's sassy secretary after the end of Mad Men. Dawn, who is kind of fearless and kind of bitchy and definitely awesome.
Yeah, she's cool. I don't know enough about her for what the spinoff would be like, but you could do it.
I just like the idea of saying that Richard Linklater was going to direct it. That was why that was in there in the first place.
Yeah, I mean, all so far every show here I'd watch the first episode of at least.
Yeah,
we're really partial though to these shows though, and all the characters on them.
We're the creators. We're the Vince Gilligan of these shows.
Oh, I don't know if I have any Vince Gilligan created shows on my list. So is it on to me for number 8?
It would be.
This is another ABC show. Apparently, a lot of my shows are on ABC. It's The Good Wife, 1972. This is following Betty Francis as Henry Francis is now running for senator, and she gets tied up in all these political affairs. Betty Draper Francis, if you forget that's Betty Don's ex.
I could be into that. Obviously, they have some internal struggles in their relationships. He got very mad at her last year for saying something.
He did. It was like the first time he was always been like overly patient with her until then.
Oh, what she did is she said that they should get out of Vietnam.
Oh yeah.
Which, the benefit of hindsight,
she was
not the worst idea.
Maybe the only thing she's ever been right about.
I mean, she was right that Don was a terrible person.
Yeah,
but we still love him.
Yeah, divorcing Don was probably a good call.
But she handled it like a child.
Yeah, that was the problem. Yeah. All right, I'll go to my number 7. This is a CBS show. It's going to be an hour drama, and it's CSI Westeros. So there's a lot of like unsolved crime in Westeros, and like these like Lannisters and whoever in charge aren't really doing anything. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna bring over a private investigator from Bravos, from the free city of Bravos. He's gonna be played by Benjamin Bratt.
Okay.
He just seems like he could look like he's from Bravos, and he should be hosting on a CSI show. So he'll do that. He'll be trying to figure out how to solve these crimes in Westeros all over the place. Like, hey, they still don't know who pushed Bran out the window.
I know. Although, isn't there a scene where like some Stark goes up there and finds a blonde hair, and then clearly they just say it's the Lannisters?
Yeah, but nobody really knows.
Okay, first of all, if they had CSI there, hair is like the most traceable piece of evidence you have, so they're screwed.
Well, yeah, now that Benjamin Bratt's going to come in and clean
and now
up
that Benjamin Bratt is going to come in with possibly like quirky ex-rapper sidekick. I don't know, LL Cool J's busy, but
he's already on an NCIS show.
Yeah, I don't know. As we highlighted last week, Ja Rule seems to have a bunch of free time.
He's available. Bow Wow's currently on CSI Cyber with.
Okay,
Vanity.
CSI Cyber has a good cast. We have Bow Wow, which actually for him to have, that's a major career victories, considering
it really
he's
is.
been relevant for like 15 years and
Yeah.
never really was.
Yeah.
We have James Vanderbeek,
Mm-hmm.
who also is pushing about 15 years of last relevance.
Whatever. He had a hilarious show though. So
You and I agree. Don't Trust the Bee in Apartment 23 is super underrated and super funny.
yeah,
It sounds ridiculous to say that, and their biggest problem was the name of that show.
it's a terrible name. It's a terrible name for a show.
But lastly, to round out the cast is Patricia Arquette, who just won the Best Actress nod for the Academy Awards. So clearly, this was not the right career move for her.
Whatever. I bet she's gonna make a lot more money doing this.
Do you? Okay,
Yeah.
well, maybe she will, but it's a lot more work.
It is a lot more work. You kind of just are working a 9 to 5, I think.
I mean, those are usually 26 episodes, I think, a year, every other week.
I don't watch any show that has 26 episodes in a year.
You don't watch any sitcoms? You don't watch any like Modern Family?
Oh, yeah, you're right. Those shows do. Modern Family might be the only one I watch that does, though. Does the New Girl have that many episodes?
I think it's got. I mean, they're all pretty standard around there, I believe.
Yeah, except for those NBC ones back in the day. But those are all like kind of done now, Parks and Rec and such.
Yeah, well, they were like dipping their toe in and weren't really committing to them.
Yeah. So what is your number 7?
Theme to what you just touched on. This would probably be a C-SPAN show.
Okay.
The Politics Power Hour with Henry Francis, which is a political talk show hosted by former New York Assemblyman Henry Francis.
He invents like talking on TV about politics, basically.
Oh, you're right. Yeah, because he'd be like the first guy. So I said this would be on C-SPAN, but like clearly that didn't exist then because they didn't even have more than 4 channels.
That's why I had Fox.
I mean, I just skipped the last episode of last season was the moon landing, and I already have like satellite dishes orbiting the Mad Men. That's my number 7. Pardon me.
Yeah. What's your 6?
Yeah, I just envision kind of a scandalous. There's this show I used to always see commercials for that I thought looked horrible yet hilarious, and I believe it was called The Sons of Shah or something.
The Shahs of Sunset?
The Shahs of Sunset.
I've never seen it.
Okay, it kind of looks hilarious though, doesn't it?
I've actually heard it's like a relatively
and maybe I've seen clips on The Soup or something.
Okay, yeah, that sounds right.
So I envision this kind of being like a scandalous version of that called The Summer of Stark. We're like Rob.
They go on vacation?
Yeah, like Rob and Theon and
Jon
Snow go off and get into trouble, and Ned has to discipline them, and Arya's having her like gender identity crisis.
I'm in.
And that would obviously be, I can't decide if it would be E or Bravo. It depends really who comes up with the most money.
Yeah, it's a bidding war. All right. So then my number 6 is kind of the one we talked about. It's the other end of your Sterling show, and I call it Roger That. And it's a prequel about Roger Sterling. It starts with Roger Sterling's life in the Navy during World War II, fighting in the Pacific Theater. And then after that, like when the war's over, you could like get into how he like started his advertising career,
riding the coattails of someone else.
Yeah, because like think of how awesome Roger Sterling is with the ladies and stuff now. Think of what he was like when he was like 27.
You know what? Some guys could grow into it. That's
he may have grown into it. You're right, because you're right though, because he did have like he has like a pretty old daughter and an ex-wife.
Yeah. But the first episode of the show we ever see, he's having an affair with Joan, who's like the most beautiful woman in the face of the earth. So he was doing well.
Yeah, he's been all right
prior to the divorce.
Yeah,
but like we said, terrible person.
And I think that show would be on TNT for some reason. I don't know why. They know drama.
So like we'd be seeing previews for it during the NBA, during
all the time.
Western Conference Finals, I believe is what TNT usually has.
Yeah. I think they might alternate though. It depends.
They might have the East.
Oh. And
I said both possible answers. They have one of those two.
I think you'll get it. I think you got it. So then my number 5, another ABC show. This one it's The Bachelorette. It's just The Bachelorette, and Khaleesi's The Bachelorette.
Oh, I have a very similar thing upcoming.
And the best thing about the Khaleesi Bachelorette is if you know, like, and pay attention, there's a decent chance she might have 2 husbands. So she could have 2 winners of her Bachelorette. You got to have a guy for each dragon to go with her.
Oh, that's an interesting
3-headed
way
dragon.
To look at it.
That's how the
And I mean, also, she's also a widower.
Yeah.
So I mean, that's a new twist for the Bachelorette.
Single mother if you count the dragons.
Yeah, and a very unruly brood, by the way.
When they go back to hometown date, when they have to like meet the dragons, this is going to be so interesting.
Yeah, what would be the hometown date when they just go to
Marine.
to? Okay, I was thinking maybe they would just go to King's Landing, since that is
possibly.
actually. But I mean, there's a little bit more contention there.
Yeah. Like you already know some people of like Jorah. He's enrolling. He's trying to get cast on that show. Dario, he's trying to get cast on that show. That dude, who is that big black dude?
Zohan Zubada.
Yeah, that guy. He's on the show.
He's dead.
Oh yeah. Well,
I don't know. This is a prequel. Oh, where are we at in the entire? Where do you see this in the timeline of Game of Thrones?
I feel like it should be right now.
Oh, so okay. So in the present, well, we know
if you go to prequel, then she's married or too young
or child bride.
Yeah,
good point. So if we're doing it in the present, then we know that the Martells want to put a contestant or 2 on there as well.
Yeah, there's gonna be plenty of people who want a chance to marry Khaleesi. Let's get that straight.
Yeah, it's compelling. It's compelling television, no doubt.
So what's your number 5?
This is probably a Cinemax show. If I were
okay,
50 Shades of Greyjoy, detailing Theon's much discussed sexual exploits before he loses his manhood.
I just thought it was going to be his exploits with Ramsay Bolton while he's getting chained up in there.
Oh yeah, I mean that could actually be. Yeah, there's a lot there.
Yeah, Theon's living that 50 Shades of Grey life probably, or was, when he still had like a dick.
Yeah, poor guy. He's still, of all the characters in this show, the whole point of Game of Thrones. Actually, Mad Men does this too. It's like the anti-hero. Like everyone is super flawed, but you still come around on them in time.
Yeah.
And Theon's one of the guys that I have yet, between the books and the TV show, you've yet to come around on. Maybe I have pity for him, but I do not like him.
Isn't he played by Lily Allen's little brother?
That I did not know.
I believe that guy is Lily Allen's little brother.
Is Lily Allen the actress?
She's a British
singer.
Yes.
Oh, okay. Yes. She writes like annoying songs where she like talks a lot, right?
Yeah, and one of them is
I'm thinking of Kate Nash.
One of her songs is about her little brother smoking too much weed, which is about him.
Oh well. He's a weird looking kid too.
He really is. It's like Alfie Allen is his name.
Yeah, like he's not classically handsome like the Stark boys.
And he was quite the ladies' man, though.
Well, he was, because he was just going nuts. He had no honor.
No,
that's the thing. No honor. He was just a whore.
He really was. So what is your number 4 show?
My number 4 is kind of based on a throwaway line in like season 3 of Mad Men when Bert Cooper is having lunch with his sister. It's when they're deciding whether or not to sell the agency to Putnam Powell and Lowell. And she says something like, well, don't you want to go and live on your ranch in Montana with your cattle? And he says, my cattle. And it's just really funny. Well, I think that they should have followed that, and they could have done like a whole, and this could be on like those stupid, like the History Channel, those terrible channels that have shows like swamp monsters and things. Bert Cooper, ranch hand. Watching Bert Cooper, who famously who would not allow shoes in his office, watching him deal with the day ins and outs workings of owning and overseeing a ranch.
I would just love like how he like designed the inside of his like Western ranch with like Asian design elements.
I loved the end of last season of Mad Men, as an aside, when they just had him do a musical number
Like as like a ghost kind of, right?
as a ghost in like a dream sequence. And I usually am not huge on dream sequences. We discussed this. There was a pretty kind of like intense dream sequence deja vu situation in last week's episode.
It really confused me.
It was somewhat confusing. But that one to close out the season after he just died was pretty fantastic.
All right. So then I'm on number 4.
Yes.
Yes. All right. This show is an HBO show because it is a kind of a cross of 2 properties of HBO. And really, the name of it's too good for me to not, and this is why I had to do it. It's Sex and the Cersei.
Okay.
And so, as we ended the last season of Game of Thrones, family's kind of falling apart. The whole Lannister fun time thing is, what if Cersei just says, screw it, I'm out, jets to Bravos with like the Red Viper's paramour, meet up
that little vixen.
Meet up with a couple other women out there and just like have a good time. I see Cersei as like the I'm really bad with the Sex and the City character name. She's like the older one.
The Samantha.
Yeah, she's the Samantha on Sex and the City.
They're just out there slutting it up, drinking
Cosmos.
No. We got to do something. A spice wine or whatever they have.
Yeah, mulled wine.
Mulled wine and
some of that good Arbor wine they got.
Yes, the unpoisoned one.
Yeah, the good stuff. Yeah, and they're just ladies about town having fun, trying to find their big. It's a good idea.
I think it could work. Lord knows HBO's trying to squeeze every penny out of Sex and the City possible. So
yeah, may as well go for it.
And Lord knows HBO loves some crossover action. Once you're in the HBO family as an actor, you are set.
Yeah, you get on a bunch of shows. It's great.
Yeah, and they're all.
Awesome. It'll be interesting to see if any of these like British actors on Game of Thrones get on other shows. Has there been any? The only actor on Game of Thrones that's from another HBO show is Dario, right?
No, Littlefinger.
Oh yeah,
Tommy Carcetti on The Wire.
Yeah, and then Dario's the junkie street musician from Treme.
Yes, but he was the third person cast in that role.
Second, I believe.
Oh, they might have another Dario this season then.
Well, I hope not. That would be.
It is getting confusing.
There's been 3
mountains.
Mountains, yeah.
Yeah, that's what it is. Okay.
And they recast Marcella Baratheon. They recast her, but she's barely been on the show.
And this season, she will have a bigger role.
She will be on the show.
Because in that book, she has a bigger role.
Yeah. So then we'll get to, this is my number 3. Now, these are the 3 shows that I think, theoretically, if somebody was smart about making TV shows, they can make these into real shows. This show, I think, would be on FX. And maybe it's not a show, and maybe it's just like a 10-episode like miniseries type thing, which is hot in the TV streets these days. I call the show. Well, first I'll describe the show, then I'll tell you the name. There's a murdering spree going on in New York City, and they're copycat murders. They're not necessarily copycat murders, but murders based off of fiction works written by Dave Algonquin. If you remember,
and name of Kenny Cosgrove,
the nom de plume of Kenny Cosgrove.
Very good. That was a deep dig, Steve.
So the name of the show is Algonquin, and so now all of a sudden, Kenny Cosgrove is being invested. Well, they think this Dave Algonquin guy is actually doing the murders too. But Kenny Cosgrove is separate. This is his second nom de plume. He was Ben Cosgrove the first time when he was discovered, so he had to get a little more creative. So Ken Cosgrove has to hire somebody to help him who's not a cop, because the cops are looking at him and he needs somebody looking the other way. So he's hiring Stan Rizzo, who apparently just in this world just has private investigating skills. Because I just want Stan Rizzo on the show. It's like a Ken Cosgrove and Stan Rizzo buddy up and try to solve the crime. But okay, so
Stan is an underrated character of that show. He's
hilarious,
comic relief.
Yeah. Now this is like probably like a 10 episode arc. The twist is at the end, the murders are actually being done by an insane Michael Ginsberg who's broken out of the insane asylum and read all the books.
Wow. Here's the only problem with your pitches: you just gave the entire listening public the climax of the show.
Yeah, but I have to pitch it to people to get them to take it up.
All right, what was the name of that show again?
Just Algonquin.
Algonquin. I gotta say that's a winner.
I would watch that show.
Yeah, I mean that's outstanding creative work, outstanding background research. You need to get like a good writer for the pilot.
No, I
need one of those like you need to get one of those deals where you can sign on like a David Lynch.
Yeah.
Or a, Paul Haggis for like a 4-episode directing writing arc kind of situation.
Yes. Love it.
Yeah, that's amazing.
What's your number 3 then? Are we on you at number 3, right?
My number 3 would definitely be on VH1.
Okay, I like where this is going.
Although this is like something they would have done more like 5 years ago, but just stick with me. It's called Betrothing Brienne. Bachelor-style dating show where men compete for the affections of Brienne of Tarth, the gem of the Sapphire Isle.
Does her father give sapphires?
Yeah, but apparently they're not as
them.
rich as Jamie Lannister tried to make them sound.
They don't have the Sapphire Isles are called sapphires because of like the water around them or something, right?
Yeah, but they are still the what do they call that? The
like a
lords
vacation.
of it, the lords of it or whatever.
Yeah. You get a good title. Lords of the Sapphire Islands. That sounds like a good title to me.
Yeah, I mean that's a win.
I'm in on that.
And my next one is actually, this isn't even really a character expanding. It's just expands on one of the great travesties / jokes of Mad Men. And that's called Acting 101 with Martin Weimer. That's Matt Weimer's son who plays Glenn Bishop. Who, whatever the opposite of stealing a scene is what he does in every single scene he's in.
He actually kind of steals the scenes, though, by being so bad.
Steals them. He Shanghais them, is what he does. But, or maybe kamikazes even. I don't know. Something that's probably kind of offensive that I just said in 2 different variants. It's just, he's just so bad at everything.
But like every time there's a Glenn scene, like the internet blows up.
Oh, with rage.
Yeah, but everybody's talking about it.
And also, the whole story arc is so past its usefulness.
That's what you think.
Well, obviously, he's going to get married to Sally Draper or something. Get her pregnant or some bullshit.
Yeah, something terrible. All right. So then it's on to me for number 2?
Yeah.
All right. This is going to be a Showtime show. I call it follows a young man known as Podrick Payne. Podrick, all this crazy stuff went on with the Lannisters, so he's jetting. He's going to Essos. He's getting the hell out of there. What skills does Podrick have? Well, we know he's like at best an average squire. But the other thing we know about him is he's quite a swordsman in the bedroom. So I view this as kind of like, do you ever like the TV show Hung?
That was a funny concept. I didn't watch every episode.
So he's like, so there's plenty of like prostitutes in this world and like man prostitutes that have sex with men, but I haven't seen the man gigolo who is bedding women that need bedding. And that's where Pod comes in. So he's going to be, all these rich women are going to be purchasing the services of Pod. Sometimes he's going to talk to them and figure out their problems because, that kind of stuff happens in these TV shows and movies. But the problem is...
And because Podrick is a sensitive, loyal servant.
He very much is. The problem is, these are going to be some wives of powerful men. So he's going to have he's going to be a lot of jumping out of windows and like figuring things out and like getting away and making sure he has good excuses for things. Oh, and the name of the show is Tripod.
Perfect. I feel like I need to get in front of a network today with some of these ideas.
And I actually spelled tripod TRY.
That also you have is a unique crossover of premium channels.
Yeah.
Which
Though Hung was actually on HBO too, but it should have been on Showtime. I feel like if Hung was on Showtime, it would still be on.
I think the reason it was on HBO, truthfully, is that they were able to sell it because it had Thomas Jane, who's like kind of a famous actor in it.
Yeah.
Showtime shows. I guess David Duchovny was in Californication, which was funny for a year, and then just became.
Yeah, they always have. Showtime's got something like William H. Macy's on Shameless.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, those guys are certainly bigger actors than
the
Thomas
Dexter
Jane.
guy was on
an HBO show.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. I retract that. Showtime is ponying up now. Well, either way, this does not require the services of a name actor.
No, not at all. We got our guy. Whoever the guy who plays Padre Payne.
He needs to be like an everyman pud.
Yeah. It's perfect.
With a huge penis.
Actually, though, here's the thing. This is why I changed the name to Tripod with a Y. If you recall, he doesn't have a huge penis. Because they got Roz on the show to go ask the prostitutes why they gave the money back. And it was not, and they said he wasn't unusually large, but it was the way he did things. And then she couldn't explain
some technique.
Yeah.
Which, great.
So I think it'd be a fun show. I also kind of think of it's like you've probably never seen this movie called Loverboy. It's like an 80s movie.
I actually was gonna guess it had like Rob Schneider in it or something.
Starring Patrick Dempsey, and he's like a high school pizza delivery boy. And when
I've seen it.
When they order extra anchovies and actually
their own. And then he gives them some D.
Yeah. So kind of like some antics like that movie. So that like crossed with Hung kind of.
Great idea.
All right. And this is my number one. I really failed in coming up with a name for this show, but this is a show I think needs to happen. And so my name is really basic. It's AMC. They're just spinning it off on their own channel, and it's Sally Draper College Years.
I was thinking of a Sally spinoff, and all I could get is like Sally Knows Best or something like that.
Yeah, I couldn't think of a good name. So it's like you got to have like the Sally's going to some liberal arts school, right, in like the Northeast. Glenn probably goes to a school, but not the same one nearby. Has to show up randomly from time to time just to bother, because they like you need Sally's makes the most sense for a spinoff, I think, of anybody.
Also, of people we'll hear from after this show, like
she's gonna have
she'll have a real career.
She can act. She's like a kid that can actually act.
I mean, a lot of people from Mad Men are gonna have careers. I mean, John Hamm's a star now.
Yeah,
Elizabeth Moss is pretty much a star now.
Yeah, she's gonna be in like real movies, I think.
Yeah, January Jones is a toxic person, apparently.
She's on another TV show already, though. This seems to be doing all right.
What is it?
Last Man on Earth.
Oh yeah, that's a Netflixer, which is supposed to be pretty funny.
Yeah. She's on that. She's one of, apparently there's more than one person left on Earth, but only one man.
So I will give my last one, and there's going to need to be some explanation after the name, although the name might give it away. It's called Blonde on Blonde. Screenplay by Nicholas Sparks, and it's the love story of twins Cersei and Jaime Lannister who fell in love with one another and had 3 incestual children in spite of social pressures and social norms.
It's disgusting. And
hey, I got to get a Bob Dylan album in there.
Nicholas Sparks would write this too.
Oh, I want it to be a love story. I don't want it to be like any sort of, to be. I mean, love is love, especially in Westeros.
Yeah, apparently it is. I mean, that's not even the only case of incest we can think of, right? In that show.
Oh, they always talk about whenever the Lannisters are trying to rationalize this, they always talk about how the Targaryens did it for years and looked how it worked out for them.
Yeah, and to be fair, everybody's favorite like mother of dragons is probably a product of incest.
She's not.
Aren't both of her parents Targaryens? All the Targaryens just married other Targaryens.
No, her mom is Ilias is from. That's why, and I'm butchering the entire thing of what I want to say. Her mom is from the place where Marcella is now.
Dorne.
She was Dornish. That's why that Dornish guy had to fight the mountain to avenge the death of his sister.
Oh, you're right. Probably.
I believe I'm right. And then we won't give away who Jon Snow's parent is on this show, but we were in agreement that it's almost assuredly
somebody else.
Somebody else.
But we actually don't know that for a fact, but we are pretty sure.
It's like locked in, man. That's like the theory of gravity is still a theory, but it's just a fact.
Yeah. I'm really excited for Thrones tonight.
So what? Okay, we've talked about this. This is a crazy TV night. I don't think you watch Veep yet, but you do watch Silicon Valley.
Yeah, so I'm not going to watch Mad Men tonight.
You're not going to watch Mad Men tonight. It's just too much going on.
I'm just going to DVR and watch it tomorrow. There's nothing on tomorrow. And I'll just stay HBO.
I mean, if you're DVRing, Mad Men's clearly the way to go because commercials.
That's how I made the decision.
But,
right? Because when I watch Mad Men, then I'll be able to fast forward through commercials.
Last year, what I did was usually I'd watch both Mad Men and Game of Thrones and then deal with the comedies later in the week.
Like another night. Yeah.
Yeah.
That makes sense too.
But I love those comedies.
It'll kind of just depend on how I'm feeling after Game of Thrones. I could probably just audible either way.
Yeah, I mean, I could totally see the need for like something that's totally different genres. But Mad Men and Game of Thrones are both fairly intense shows. So like
exactly
changing it up with a Silicon Valley or Veep makes sense too. And that's why HBO's had this structure for years where they would do like their super intense drama followed by comedy.
Yeah, I mean, the problem is that Game of Thrones and Mad Men keep being on in the same day.
It is uncanny that they have these lengthy layoffs, but they somehow start on the same, they somehow run consecutive to each other, or not even consecutive, concurrent to each other every year.
It's so annoying.
Like I have nothing to do most Sunday nights, and then this happens, and I'm in like sensory overload.
And I'm super excited for this season of Game of Thrones because, from what I gather, like there's either going to be some things that I don't know from the books, or some things are going to be different too. At this point, is what I've basically read is they're going to start going separate off the books a little bit.
Well, here's the thing: they got to streamline. They want to streamline because they only want to have a certain number of seasons.
Yeah.
But by streamlining, they are putting themselves in jeopardy of passing the books faster.
Yeah, well, they're going to pass the books this season.
It just doesn't seem like there's any way they won't. At this point, I don't know if we'll ever get the last two books.
Oh yeah, well that's the other thing, right? They're going to pass the books this season. Bran isn't even in this season because he's at the end. Like I heard Bran, that whole storyline is not in this season.
I mean, Bran's almost to the end of his arc.
He is. He is at
the end of his arc.
Yeah. But so is Sansa though, and she's in this season.
No, Sansa looks like she got evil.
Yeah, we'll see. We don't know. Even if we read the books and we don't know what's happening there, right?
No.
So that she's gonna pass up the books for sure. She's gonna be the first one.
Well, there is one development, I think, in the books with the actual heir to the throne. But now putting us in a really weird place where I'm not sure. Yeah, we don't want to talk about it.
It'll be
how many times have I said that I'm putting us in a weird place? And oftentimes it can be off the air, usually with like a waitress at a bar.
Yeah, a few times.
All of the times.
So, if you're still listening to this, that means you probably watched one of these two shows we were talking about, and you should subscribe to this podcast on iTunes.
You know, I gotta say, I don't know how many people still will be listening because Carly is not even done with Game of Thrones, right?
Yeah, she's close. She might listen.
She's our most loyal listener, I would have to guess. More so than anyone that's actually related to us.
Yeah. She's close. No, we have a few. I think we have a few loyal listeners that listen every week. I mean, we have to. The numbers. There's no way we're just getting people are being randomized that much.
The numbers indicate that we have very few listeners overall. So with that, please go through the social media and please tell your friends.
Yeah. Subscribe to us on iTunes. If you have an Android phone, the Stitcher app is great, and you can subscribe to us there.
It actually is better than iTunes, in my opinion.
It kind of is because it's only made for podcasts.
Yes.
Right. It's like a podcast only type thing. You can like our Facebook page. You should share. If you like this podcast, share it.
Say that one again.
Okay. You just want me to start? Should we just start over at the
social media stuff? I guess.
Okay. Yeah. So subscribe to us on iTunes. If you have an Android phone, you should subscribe to us on Stitcher. Download the app if you don't have it. It's great. It's better than iTunes, actually.
It's better than iTunes.
It's podcast specific. You could also like us on Facebook. If you already do like us on Facebook, if you like the podcast or a particular podcast, go ahead and share it. That'd be great. We just like to get other people to know about it. It would be awesome. And you can follow us on Twitter at First of the Worst. You can follow me on Twitter if you want at Arendass, Arendass.
And I'm at shy_Merv.
That's shy as in Chicago, not as in bashful.
Thank you, Kanye.
And you can always just email us firstoftheworst@gmail.com.
Questions, comments, ideas for list. We've gotten some great ideas from guys that are from listeners that are not us.
Yeah. So anything you want to email us about. You need advice on what you want for dinner, I can help you on that.
Yeah, this is a big night. I feel like this is like a football game night. Like I do not know what I'm going to eat tonight, but I want to be awesome. Like if I had I'm getting a 14-ounce bone-in prime cut of television tonight.
I'm going grilled cheese and tomato soup because I read it's National Grilled Cheese Day, and then that made me want grilled cheese.
Okay. And
we have some good cheese that Jess's mom brought us from like some cheese factory up in Wisconsin.
I was wondering. I figured you had some good Wisconsin cheese.
That's also why I wanted to go after it. My lights just flickered, like my power's gonna go off. So maybe we need to wrap this up soon.
Okay, guys. Thanks so much for listening. Check out next week. It will not be Hollywood centric. We don't know exactly what it will, but we're gonna go back to more of a everyday life topic, I think.
Yeah, we'll get weird. All right, later.
All right, bye.